Good morning, welcome to Ace Classic Cars, and this morning I'm just going to do an oil change on my relatively new to me Mercedes SLK. It's the 3-litre version. What I'm going to do this morning is change the oil and talk you through a little bit about what's involved, and hopefully make it a real world experience so that people can have the courage to do it themselves. It was the first job that I ever did on a classic car, and it is well worth doing because you can save yourself quite a lot of money by doing it yourself over the course of time. So as you can see, I've got set up this morning. I've got my car up on ramps and a bit of cardboard underneath just to catch any drips as we go through the process. Taking my time this morning, got all my bits and pieces that I need together. Nothing too specialist required for this job. I've got an oil drain pan. It's a 16-litre one because this car uses 8 litres of oil if you're doing it yourself. Just make sure that your oil pan's got enough capacity to catch the oil that's going to be in your sump. I've got 10 litres, I only need 8, but I've got 10 litres of Mercedes-Benz oil and a Mercedes-Benz filter that I bought online. To be honest, not very much more money than I could have got OEM stuff from my local motor factory, but I thought I would go Mercedes-Benz and keep everything original. PPE, get some gloves. No excuses these days. Used engine oil isn't very nice, and a set of gloves or a box of gloves is dirt cheap, so sort yourself out with some of those. Tools, 13mm spanner, a screwdriver because you've got to change some seals on the oil filter, and this thing which is a specialist tool for Mercedes-Benz, just to undo the oil filter housing. I've already taken the undershields off, half a dozen 8mm screw type things. Dead easy just to get that off, and some rags because you are going to make a mess. Whatever you do, you'll make more mess than you think you will, so be ready for that. And finally, a hot drink of your choice, and it is freezing out here today. So just a quick look under the car. First thing we need to do will be to drain the oil, and your oil will always be on the lowest part of your engine, and in this case the sump drain plug is just there with a 13mm spanner. So no further ado, I will get on and get the oil out. So what I've done, I've had a quick spray around the sump plug with the brake cleaner. I didn't mention that earlier, but just to make sure it's nice and clean and nothing can possibly get back that way into the engine. I've got my oil drain pan lined and set up. Then it's just a question of 13mm spanner on the nut. Give it a crack. Right, so whilst the oil drains out, we can turn our attention to the oil filter. The great thing about Mercedes, when you put the bonnet up, you have this service position for the bonnet, so you can get absolutely superb access to the engine bay. Now on the SLK, the oil filter housing is located under the engine cover here, which is a pull-up, two-handed job. It just pulls out. And the oil filter is just here on top of the oil filter housing, and we need that special tool that I mentioned earlier to get that undone. That sits on there, put a socket on top, and we unwind that. Okay, so we've unwound the oil filter housing, and it's a question of just carefully, because it is still quite oily, remove it, and then we'll swap the filter and the O-rings over. I think I may struggle to do this two-handed, so I'll show you the reassembled item very shortly. Okay, so all assembled. So apologies for not being able to show you how to do it, but I've only got a mobile phone camera, and my hands are freezing cold, and it is a little bit of a fiddly two-handed process. But the things to note are, in your oil filter housing, you'll have some new seals. These are the old ones, so you have to put a new one on here, and on here. Just carefully prise off the old ones with a pick if you've got one, or I use this screwdriver. Just be careful not to damage any of the plastic parts. Pull out the old paper filter, which I've just left mine over there. Then it's just a question of reassembly, is the reverse of what you've just done, and I always just use a little bit of the old engine oil just to lubricate the new seals, just to get them on nice and easily. And interestingly, because this is a Mercedes-Benz filter, there's just a careful little guide there just to remind you that the top O-ring doesn't sit right up against the housing, rather it sits in the groove below, and also just to make sure the two white lines on the oil filter, that you leave one just visible as it shows there. So then that's just a question of putting that back in the car, tightening it down. Okay, let's do that nice hand tight. Lovely. Right, next job is to tidy up under here and put the oil sump back in. Sorry, the oil sump plug back in. Okay, so just completed perhaps the most important part of the oil change process, and that is remembering to put in the sump plug. So put that back in, we tightened it up, just nipped it up with the 13mm spanner, remembering to use our new copper sealing washer. So that's done, and then the next stage is to refill the oil. This car takes 8 litres, and this is where the oil goes in. Long experience tells me that I can't pour oil and film anything at the same time. It's a two-handed job, so I'll stop the video and rejoin later on. Okay, so we've now got the car off the ramps onto a flat level surface, and we'll just check the oil level and see if we need to add any more. Hopefully I can do this 2 at a time. And yeah, not coming out very clearly, but yeah, it's just at the bottom of the dipstick, so as I would have thought, needs half a litre. I'll add that and then check the oil again. Okay, right, so we're at the end of the process. Final word really needs to be on tidying up, I guess. So what I've done is I've drained the oil drain pan into the old engine oil, or the new but now empty engine oil, and a couple of pop bottles, and they'll be going straight up the amenity tip this afternoon. Most amenity tips in the UK accept used engine oil, and it's an environmentally friendly way of getting rid of it, because I believe they recycle it. Had a bit of a tidy up where we were. Again, this is the real world. I spilled a bit of oil on the drive, and I've cleaned it up with a bit of white spirit, some oily rags. So that's going to be the end of the video. Probably just worth it just to mention, I've just checked the oil again, and it needed just a little bit more, and I've had to put in exactly 8 litres as per the handbook, and it's now sitting nicely just literally a millimetre or so below the max mark. So job done, and probably a few £100 saved. Thank you very much. If you want to see anything else on the car or want to make any comments, please do so below. Thank you.